I know some pretty smart women from Brazil,
Okay.
smarter than the women here.
Okay.
They
I
make smarter decisions.
Yeah, I could understand morally. I could definitely see morally. I could definitely see how women make better decisions in certain other countries, morally. I I don't know. There's just something about American families, just American culture. We're winners, like everybody that's, I just truly see America as a winning culture. Free market here just really puts you on a different level whenever you are born in this and you're competing, you're going to sports, you're doing all the stuff that everybody does in America when you're growing up. I think that that really builds you up to become a stronger person. I just wouldn't want to have a kid in another country personally, but I totally see like how it works for you. Um, I was wondering, like, what do you think about hypergamy? Like, do you think that if a woman is being hypergamous, do you think that that is her fault, or do you think that, or do you think that if a woman is having to enact on her hypergamy, that that she's wrong in that, like
No.
she's a harlot or something for having to do that, or is that the man's fault because the men aren't, stepping up?
Well, I want to touch on that last point you said too. I don't think in Brazil they're teaching the kids that there's 900 different genders. So I would say the
Okay.
education might be better there because I mean they've actually learned worried. It's like a place like China. You know what goes viral in China is educational videos. What goes viral here is videos of fights.
Yeah.
You know, and problematic things. But women with hypergamy, you said, are they wrong for doing that? No, I mean that's your option to. I mean, if you even if you see back, I mean, women have always wanted the man with the most resources since the beginning of time. That's just natural. I don't. That's just a natural thing. I mean, it's survival of the fittest in the world. We all
So
compete.
so even if you were in that other country though, and like say there's a guy who's a multimillionaire and she likes him more, like hypergamy can still happen there just as it can happen here. Are you gonna be just as worried with a woman from one of those countries as you would here? Like, are you just as worried about her leaving you being hypergamous, or not as much there because you think they're more traditional?
So this is where it comes into where I say you shouldn't be a fool. Like, don't go over there thinking, like I said, just because that they're better overall. In my opinion, that won't you won't be a victim of hypergamy. I mean, there was a story about this Brazilian chick that got pregnant by two different men. You probably seen that.
Hmm.
So the bullshit can happen anywhere, but I mean, it's a woman's not gonna be able to do the hypergamy shit on me because I don't give a damn from the jump.
Yeah.
I can show emotion, but you're not gonna. mm,
And it's
it-
your plan when you're there for the next few years. You're not going to have any serious relationships. It's always going to be like spinning plates type of thing, like Red Pill would teach.
No, I think I'm actually gonna be looking for not looking for, but I'm gonna be open to having a girlfriend whenever I get there because I'm not. I'm trying to solidify myself in that country, and I don't want to spend. You're not gonna do that by hanging out all the time, chasing new girls all the time. Maybe for the first 2 weeks, yeah, but
What do you think about getting finessed out there? Like what? Because I've heard lots of horror stories, and I've always I like to get on Reddit a lot, and there's tons of stories of people going to countries like that to go try to have experience like yours, and they end up getting finessed, they end up getting robbed, all kinds of things like that. Have you had any experiences in anything like that, or
hmm
do you have any plans to keep yourself safe while you're over there to make sure nothing bad happens to you in those ways?
the majority of men that are a victim of being robbed or finessed or all that's all behind lust. I can almost guarantee you it's all behind lust. If you get robbed behind, if a woman robs a man, it's behind lust. He was
Okay.
blinded by lust that he wasn't even paying attention to his surroundings.
Okay.
Um, for example, one of the guys I went to Colombia with, he was blinded, but he was drunk, right? It's a good friend of mine, close friend. I'm not talking bad about him. It's just a true story. There was some chicks that had came in, and I can see it, and my other homeboy, we can see it. They're about to try to rob us, basically.
Hmm.
And so we're telling them basically they got to get the hell out. Yeah, a lot of stuff happened in between, but I'm not gonna bring it all up here. Anyway, my other homeboy, he's super drunk, and he's trying to keep him there. Like, no, don't go anywhere. And he was kind of pissing me off. Like, bro, these motherfuckers are gonna try to rob us. Like,
Hmm.
the fuck are you doing? And but again, that's lust. He wants to fuck that bad that he doesn't even see
He's making mistakes.
that you might come up missing after this is over with.
Yeah.
You know.
It's
So
it's that's the horror stories that I'm talking about. I just really hope that the guys that like you're teaching, I really hope they like take a very very safe route to any of the things that they do, because guys, any guys watching, be very careful. Anything bad can happen in those countries, just like how bad stuff can happen here. The only difference is you won't have any allies over there, and you won't have anybody possibly to help you. So that's another thing I wanted to ask. So when you go to these other places, do you make sure you always have an ally there? Like you always know at least one person, or have you gone to a country and just know nobody, like just winged it?
The first time I went to Brazil, I knew two people. They were women though, so I mean, they could only help so much. They could
Yeah.
probably help call the police. You know, they're not gonna come in there and fight or nothing. But uh, I mean, I if it wasn't for those two, I wouldn't know anybody. And just
And how did you meet those two? Whenever like whenever, how do you meet girls in other countries? So then whenever you go, you can already have an avenue to somebody to meet.
I met them on Instagram.
Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. Instagram. That's awesome.
Yeah,
It's that easy these days.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. No. So another thing is that you already kind of told me though that you do want a relationship while you're there, but something that bothers me in the red pill space is sometimes they don't preach relationships. So I'm really happy that you said that even when you get there, you want a relationship, because it really scares me that all these kids aren't going to have any practice in relationships for 5, 10 years, and you kind of need practice to be able to know how to hold a hot girl down. If you want a hot girl that's actually low or anything like that, you need some practice sometimes, guys. So, uh, please, if you're red pill, you should definitely be more of his kind of red pill where you're trying to still seek some relationships. Um,
Well, I mean, you had to think about it. If you're going overseas for a traditional woman, this is what I like to say: the women overseas have a lot more common sense than the women here. So women that were traditional here, they'll be traditional to the wrong man, which is not their fault. Everybody has to learn. But then the problem is they'll be, for example, like somebody in my family. She was traditional to the wrong man for 18 years.
yeah.
And then now it's over with. So now she's kind of like, I'm not doing that stuff again. I'm not doing half of that stuff again for the next guy.
She had her
Well,
time wasted.
well, good fucking luck, because now when you say I'm gonna cut my offer in half, but I'm gonna charge the same price.
Mhm.
Who the hell's buying that?
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm gonna
nobody.
take the back seats out of the car, but I want you to pay full price. So but that's what women in the States will do. But when I was
Yeah.
in Brazil, a chick might do that for 1, 2, 3 months, and when she realizes though Austin doesn't want a relationship, I won't hear from her again.
Okay.
She'll just tell me, hey, this isn't gonna work. We don't want the same thing, and she'll do the 100% to the next man.
Mhm.
But I don't know what it is with women in the States. I don't know.
And so have you gone to an Asian country before, or will this be your first time going to an Asian
This will be
country?
my first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a weird thing that I wanted to talk about. I don't know if this is gonna make people mad, but I want to know about, or what do you think about the fetishization of different cultures? So say like in Japan, they fetishize white men. They if you're a white guy there, you're probably gonna have a really good time. And there's certain countries where if you're black, you're probably gonna have a way better time than other people. If you're somebody that isn't of that, would you actually encourage them not even to go to those countries? Like say in Japan, if they're a little bit racist towards black people, would you not even want to go to Japan because it's not worth it? Like, would you even tell your audience, guys, we should probably avoid Japan because it's not a country that likes us as much? Or would you encourage people to just go anywhere?
I wouldn't encourage them. I tell them to find out themselves because Brazil has heavy racism too. I mean, they don't even put black people on TV. If you ever paid, I
Wow.
mean, they're on TV. It's like six of them. They got one black person in the entire federal government, from my understanding. I think on the state level they have black people,
Hmm.
but in the federal government, I think it's like one black person in the whole
Okay.
thing. I think it was 2018. They had a black congresswoman. She was murdered just coincidentally. So there's racism there too. I mean, I've had the police put a gun in my face in Brazil, still went back.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
so
so
so despite even those things, it's worth it because the women are that much better.
yeah. Well,